Australian Neil Robertson missed a crucial opportunity to take a 4-1 lead, failing to pot the penultimate ball. This turned out to be the pivotal moment in his first-round match at the UK Championship. His opponent, Judd Trump, capitalized on the chance, producing impressive breaks of 73, 126, and 67 to secure a 5-3 advantage before sealing the ninth frame to advance. Trump now faces three-time champion John Higgins in the next round. Ranked 18th in the world, Robertson had battled through 2 qualifying rounds to reach York, making this clash one of the most anticipated matchups of the tournament's opening round. However, both players voiced frustration over the playing conditions at the York Barbican. 7-time world champion Stephen Hendry, speaking on BBC TV, described the table as unplayable. Robertson echoed Hendry's sentiments, calling it the toughest table he had ever played on. "It was as unplayable as it gets in professional conditions," said the 2010 world champion. "The cushions were so unpredictable that you could easily end up out of position. It's usually a great venue, so it's hard to understand what went wrong. That said, I can't fault my performance under such tough conditions." Trump agreed, calling the conditions among the worst he had experienced as a professional. "It's disappointing because it seems to happen at the bigger events. The tables were extremely heavy, which made things difficult for all the players. Hopefully, changes can be made." A World Snooker Tour (WST) spokesperson attributed the challenging conditions to recent heavy rainfall and high humidity across the country, which can affect the playing environment. Despite the difficulties, Trump expressed satisfaction with his performance, particularly his ability to fight back. "It was scrappy at first, but I found momentum at 3-2 and raised my game. I'm pleased with how I turned it around," he said. Elsewhere in the tournament, 2-time UK champion Mark Williams suffered a dramatic collapse, losing 6-5 to Stuart Bingham after leading 4-1 and 5-2. Bingham staged a stunning comeback with breaks of 57, 79, and 82 to win 4 consecutive frames, eliminating Williams in the first round. Meanwhile, on Table 2, China's Zhang Anda showcased brilliance by scoring a maximum 147 break in his 6-3 victory over compatriot Lei Peifan. Lei had taken an early 2-0 lead, but Zhang's perfect break in the 4th frame shifted the momentum. Despite a miscue on the pink in frame 8, Zhang closed out the match in the 9th frame and will face Bingham next. Earlier, 4-time world champion John Higgins delivered a masterclass with a 6-0 victory over China's He Guoqiang, advancing to the last 16. Higgins, 49, dominated with breaks of 110, 92, 72, and 64, scoring 554 points to He's 107. "When I play like that, I can compete with anyone," said Higgins. The 3-time UK champion, who has also been a runner-up twice, called the York Barbican a special venue and expressed satisfaction with his performance. The Galactic Assembly convened in an emergency session, a rare occurrence in an age of peace. The war between humanity and the Xantrix Dominion had ended, but its repercussions reverberated through the galaxy. Representatives of hundreds of species, some ancient and wise, others young and ambitious, gathered in the colossal chamber to address a single question: what to do about Deathworlders? Specifically, what to do about humanity? For many, the answer was obvious. The representatives of the Varine Confederacy, a species renowned for their scientific achievements, argued that humanity posed an existential threat to galactic stability. They presented detailed analyses of human behavior, their evolutionary path, and their capacity for destruction. Humanity, they claimed, was the epitome of unpredictability, a species capable of adapting to any scenario and thriving in chaos. To allow such a species to roam unchecked was reckless. Others, however, were less certain. The Melathi Collective, a deeply philosophical species, cautioned against reacting out of fear. They pointed out that humanity's actions, while aggressive, had been defensive in nature. The Xantrix Dominion had provoked the conflict, assuming they could subjugate humans, as they had countless others. Humanity had simply responded as any species might when threatened. To condemn them for their survival instincts, they argued, was both unjust and hypocritical. The debates grew heated as more voices joined the discussion. Some advocated for preemptive measures, strict containment protocols, restrictions on humanity's expansion, or even their isolation from the galactic community. But others warned that such actions would only confirm humanity's fears and provoke the very aggression the Assembly hoped to avoid. Amid these arguments, the Assembly turned to the xenobiologists and strategists who had studied humanity in detail. Their reports painted a sobering picture. Humans, they explained, were not inherently more violent than other species. In fact, their culture was filled with art, cooperation, and moments of profound kindness. But what set them apart was their unparalleled adaptability. Unlike other species, humans evolved on a planet that demanded constant change. Their history was a testament to survival against insurmountable odds: ice ages, supervolcanoes, predatory megafauna, and even themselves. This relentless drive to endure had shaped them into a species capable of transforming weakness into strength, chaos into opportunity. The scientists issued a warning: a war against humanity would not end as one might expect. Where most species would crumble under overwhelming pressure, humans would thrive. They would innovate, strategize, and adapt until they found a way to win. The cost of such a conflict would be catastrophic, not just for humanity, but for the galaxy as a whole. Faced with this reality, the Assembly reached a decision. A unanimous vote established the no-war policy, an unprecedented law that forbade any act of aggression against Deathworlder species, starting with humanity. The policy wasn't framed as an act of benevolence or even fairness. It was a matter of survival. The galaxy had seen what humanity was capable of when cornered. No one wanted to test what they might do if pushed further. For humanity, the policy was a double-edged sword. It ensured their safety, cementing their place in the galactic community. But it also marked them as a species to be feared, their potential for destruction overshadowing their capacity for collaboration. The Assembly's decision was not just a safeguard against war. It was a tacit acknowledgement that the galaxy had encountered something it could not control. Humanity's reaction to the no-war policy was mixed. On one hand, it guaranteed their survival in a galaxy where they were still the newcomers. No species could legally attack them, and for a civilization still adjusting to its place among the stars, that kind of security was invaluable. But the policy also came with unintended consequences. To much of the galaxy, humanity became synonymous with danger, a species whose potential for violence demanded a law to protect everyone else from them. This perception created a strange kind of isolation. Diplomats often found themselves walking a fine line between awe and unease. While humanity had earned its place at the table, many species avoided direct interaction unless absolutely necessary. Trade agreements were clinical, alliances cautious, and social exchanges rare. Where other civilizations enjoyed open partnerships and cultural blending, humanity found doors closed more often than not. Despite this, humanity didn't withdraw or lash out. Instead, they leaned into their reputation, using it to carve out a unique role in the galaxy. If others feared their destructive potential, humanity showed them a different side, one of problem-solving, innovation, and a surprising knack for uniting others. They became the galaxy's mediators, stepping into disputes where more peaceful species hesitated. One of the earliest examples of this was the Resol Accord, a conflict between the Marith and the Zorthi over contested mining rights. The two species, both longtime members of the Galactic Assembly, had reached an impasse after years of failed negotiations. Previous mediators had been unable to resolve the issue, with tensions threatening to escalate into open conflict. Humanity was brought in as a last resort, and their approach was unconventional. Instead of focusing on abstract diplomacy, the human mediators studied both sides in depth, their cultures, histories, and values. They worked tirelessly to craft a solution that acknowledged the core needs of each species while addressing the underlying mistrust that had fueled the dispute. In the end, the humans succeeded where others had failed, earning not just gratitude but a grudging respect from both parties. Over time, more civilizations turned to humanity in moments of crisis. Their ability to think creatively, to adapt to unfamiliar problems, and to approach challenges with both pragmatism and empathy made them invaluable in ways no one had anticipated. Slowly, the galaxy began to see humanity not just as a threat, but as a force for stability, a species capable of bringing order to chaos. Even so, the burden of their reputation weighed heavily on humanity. They were constantly reminded of how others saw them, as predators, as warriors, as survivors shaped by a harsh and unforgiving world. While other species celebrated their shared achievements and cultural exchanges, humanity's identity was often reduced to their death world origins. But humanity embraced this duality. They took pride in their resilience, in the strength that came from enduring and thriving on a planet that tested them at every turn. At the same time, they sought to redefine what it meant to be a Deathworlder. They showed the galaxy that strength wasn't just about destruction, but about building something greater, about protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. In the end, humanity's legacy wasn't dictated by fear or aggression. It was defined by their choices, their decision to lead with hope, to prove that even the most unlikely species could contribute to a greater peace. And while the galaxy might never fully understand them, humanity stood as a reminder of what was possible when survival wasn't the end goal, but the beginning of something far greater.